Hi everybody, Dan Illman here taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, November the 11th. Let's throw up the field for race number 5 at Gulfstream Park West. It's a $25,000 maiden claimer going 6.5 furlongs. It kicks off a 50 cent. Pick 4. You can download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with me. We'll begin by taking a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector. And the number 1 Zamet is expected to show improved early speed. He was outrun in his career debut over a sloppy track, but he caught a very promising field in a fast pace. Against this bunch, I would think that he's going to be closer to the pace, and I wouldn't be surprised if Trini John, the 5, is also close to the pace. This race, however, might feature some quick first-time starters, the 2 Feast, the 6 Himmelstein. These horses lack pace data because they've never raced before, and they might be pretty quick from the stalls. Let's begin our analysis with the 1 Zamet, who has a precocious pedigree. No surprise, this horse was bet down to 3-1 for his career debut. He's by the excellent debut stallion Competitive Edge, the first foal out of a dam that was multiple stakes place sprinting on the turf, and that dam is a half-sister to a stakes-winning 2-year-old Zamet. Caught a wet track in the debut. Could be key. We've had some wet weather in South Florida this week. Maybe Zamet might have to deal with a wet track once again, and he just didn't really get out of first gear. This is a $50,000 yearling who debuted for half that price for $25,000. I would expect improved speed. Demand value, however, 3-1 on the morning line. The number 2 is Feast, one of the 2 first-time starters in this field by a good debut stallion. Twirling Candy wins with about 18% of his overall debut runners. He wins at about 14% with his older first-time starters. The dam loved a wet track, and again, that could be key if the track comes up wet. Half of her lifetime victories came over wet going. The second dam was a stakes winner going 1 1/8 over a wet, fast track. This is a horse that sold for $19,000, actually a buyback for $19,000 as a yearling, then sold for $22,000 as an April 2-year-old last year after breezing a furlong in 10 seconds flat. There are some gaps in the work tab. This is a low-profile barn. You're going to get a good price on a nice pedigree in a field that is kind of lacking any standouts. Feast is a horse you might want to consider at a price. The number 3, Bishtan, sold for $130,000 as a Keeneland September yearling. Looks to have been privately purchased since his one and only race, and that was way back over a year ago, where he just caught the toughest of fields. He ran in a maiden special weight at Gulfstream Park against 5 next out winners. One of them you've heard of, King Guillermo, who went on to win the Tampa Bay Derby and finished second in one of the divisions of the Arkansas Derby. Bishtan was completely overmatched in that race, and it's probably best to treat him as a first-time starter returning off of a lengthy layoff. He does have some pedigree, not only by Into Mischief. He's a half-brother to Pocket, who is a Grade 2 place turf router as a 2-year-old. Bishtan is 30-1 on the morning line. But considering the competition he was in against and the fact that he missed so much time after that race, you can treat him as a first-time starter, and he isn't facing the toughest field in the world. The 4 is Moon Man Walking, who finished ahead of Zamet last time out over that sloppy track. That was a very strong field. It was won in gate-to-wire fashion, in runaway fashion by C. Trident, who just went right to the front, set a fast pace, and could not be caught. The third-place finisher came back to win by 7.5 lengths in a $16,000 maiden claimer with a 57 Beyer speed figure. Moonman Walking seems to lack early speed, but this horse is likely going to be closing in the late stages of this race. Another worth considering, 5-1 on the morning line. Trini John is 7-2 on the morning line, and he's been in some tough maiden claimers recently. Last time out in against Rough Entry, a horse that came back to earn a improved 79 Beyer speed figure when third in a starter optional claimer. The race before that, he ran to another runaway winner. Semper Fi ran away and hid from the field by 7. Trini John ran okay that day with a 50 Beyer speed figure. He's expected to be closer to the pace. He has limited upside, however. We've already seen this horse in 7 lifetime appearances. Zamet is a horse from the rail. You have to demand value 3-1 off a sort of uninspiring debut. Trini John, let's demand a little value here as well. 7-2 on the morning line. Himmelstein, the first-time starter for trainer Kathleen O'Connell, deserves a lot of respect. He's by Adios Charlie, who wins 16% with older debut runners. Not a ton of pedigree on the bottom here. This is the first foal out of an unraced dam. It just feels like the $25,000 $25,000 maiden claiming level is a good spot for Himmelstein to make the debut. Steady workout since September the 7th, including a 5-furlong breeze on October the 29th. I would expect this horse a late fall to run well in his belated career debut. And completing the field is the horse with perhaps the best form overall, the 7-Tone Feeling, a $19,000 yearling buyback by Tonalist, who made a mid-race move going a 2-turn mile last time out before flattening out over wet fast going. This distance might be a little sharp for him considering his route pedigree, but he's a horse that has earned Beyer speed figures that put him in the mix. He wheels back on very sharp notice. You have not, he's racing in a week's notice, but this is a trainer that, if you look at formulators, about 0 for 26 over the last 5 years with horses wheeling back in a week or less. It's an intriguing field. I think Himmelstein's got the right field to make his debut, and I think Feast, the number 2, is an interesting first-time starter as well. I'm going 6-2-7 in your Wednesday DRF Race of the Day. Best of luck.